What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Impel Forward Podcast. I'm your host, Leon, and today I have with me Miss Bessie Elmore. I don't know if it's MRS or MS.
MS.
MS. But yeah, she's the founder and the CEO of Turning Corners Alliance, a program designed for ex-offenders, victims of domestic violence, and grandparents raising grandchildren. She's also the founder of Straight Talk Support. So we're going to dive right into it. I seen you throw up a finger. Did I get something wrong?
Reverse. Straight talk before turning corners.
Oh, okay. Well, that don't really matter. I'll let you put all that in order.
Okay.
I'm glad to have you. How you doing?
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good. So we're here to talk about Straight Talk and
Yes.
a couple other things. How did you start Straight Talk and why?
I started Straight Talk Support Group in 2013 because there was no support group in this area for family members who had loved ones that were incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
And there are all sorts of support groups for cancer, for Alzheimer's, for dementia, for domestic violence. And I figured I'd start one for family members who had loved ones that were incarcerated.
Mm-hmm. Now, we know I've had your son on here a couple of times.
Yes.
And, he's one of the ones that he's the main one, or what? Just one of the ones that you started it for?
The main one.
The main one. So what took it? How was that starting it for him? How did you get the experience to do what you did to help him out? He told us a little bit about the story of how you did it, but what expertise did you have in doing any of that?
Well, I worked for the Battered Women's Coalition, and I was very instrumental in doing support groups for the women. And I started doing support groups for men. I did support groups in a jail called for the STAR program and for another organization. So I was very familiar with doing support groups, but never a support group for family members who had loved ones that were incarcerated.
Mm.
So I'm not going to say it was easy. When I first started the group, only 9 people showed up. The Indy did an article on me starting the group. And like I said, the first week, only 9 people showed up. And I figured, well, maybe it won't take off. Because I had done my research and other states had support groups, but not North Carolina. But the next 2 weeks, 30 people showed up. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have to continue this. And we had an array of topics. And then I started inviting senators, lawyers, therapists to come speak to my group. And it kept growing. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And we had a rule in our support group. It was called the Vegas Laws, the Vegas Rule. Everything that went on in the group had to stay in the group. And we had a little agreement that you would sign. And it made the people feel comfortable knowing that what they said would stay in the group. And when someone new came in, and if they didn't want to sign the agreement, then the group would not allow them to come in. So that was very good because the group, it was all about the group and what they said, how they felt, the things that they were thinking about, the things that they didn't know. It was a curiosity because people wanted to know, how did I come to North Carolina, not being a North Carolinian? How did I get to know what I knew? And I thought that was a little strange because you guys are from North Carolina. How come you don't know what I know? But people don't know what they know until they know what they know. So I explained to them how I obtained the knowledge. I'm a very inquisitive person. And if you met my son, you know he's inquisitive too. Mm-hmm. So is my daughter. And I did a lot of volunteering. One of the most impactful places that I ever volunteered with was for the American Civil Liberties Union. The office I worked out of, they worked on death penalty cases. And I had the opportunity to read briefs and read all about all the legalese. And it was so interesting to me. And the more I read, the more I learned. And they allowed me to work with one of the lawyers. And I worked with her on a death penalty case where they were able to get this young man off of death row. And everything it took to get him off of death row, it was so, I want to say exciting, but it gave me a peek into the law. And so much so I thought about, well, but I'm a little too old to go back study law. But it gave me a peek into the law. And what I learned about the law, if there's a law to get you in, there's a law to get you out. You just got to find it.
Right.
So I presented a lot of things to my group that they weren't aware of. How to talk to people in Raleigh about your loved one that's incarcerated, how to go about getting some things done. And they were excited and they were empowered. And once you empower people, that's the movement right there.
Mhm.
And for a lot of Black and brown people, especially Black people in the South, maybe in everywhere, if we don't know what we know, and if it's kept from us and we just go along with it, then we just keep going along with it. But for me, it wasn't going to be like that. My daughter and I came here on a mission, and we were bound to complete our mission.
Yeah. So how did you get the spaces, or where did you find the spaces to hold these meetings at?
Well, this organization called Health Touch, I was a part of them. They had different services that they offered, and they had a meeting room. And I went to the director and I told her what I wanted to do, and she allowed me to have the space.
So what were you doing before you started all this? Like
All of this stuff.
even before the straight talk with the women's thing you said in the beginning, what was you doing before that?
Before I came to North Carolina?
Yeah, before. So you wasn't doing the women's thing in New York at all?
No.
Okay, so yeah, what was you doing in New York?
I worked for corporate America when I was in Jersey.
Okay.
And the only reason why I came to North Carolina was because of my son's situation.
Mhm.
And when I came here, I couldn't find a job, which I found very odd. But people didn't want to hire me because they were saying, well, you're used to earning X amount of dollars. And I didn't even know what the minimum wage was. And when they told me, I was like, oh, I can't work for that. But I got involved working with the Battered Women's Shelter. And I love working with the women. I'm a victim of I was a victim of domestic violence. So I had a frame of reference. And working there, then I worked for a gentleman who owned 5 McDonald's here in Durham and doing his accounting because that's my background. And I did that during the day and I worked at the shelter in the evenings. So when I started turning corners, it was because I wanted to do my own quote unquote thing. And I wrote these modules. I wrote 7 modules, starting out with personal growth and development, domestic violence, anger management, grandparents raising grandchildren, money management, critical thinking, job readiness. So all I did was work. But in the meantime, I was still working on William's case because it filled my time up, made day go by faster, weeks go by faster, months go by faster, years go by faster.
So what you had the accounting background, so you didn't even think to start your own accounting business?
I never liked
Oh,
accounting.
you never liked it.
Never. That was something my father decided I should do. Accounting paid me well,
Right.
but there was something about working with people, helping them to change their outlook on where they were to move them to a different space. And that was my interest.
So how did you manage as far as like when you say you came down here looking for work? And I guess you said the people they figured you or you thought the pay was too low?
They thought it was too low.
They
So did I. I
yeah,
mean, 750,
yeah,
725 an
yeah,
hour
yeah,
when I'm used to making, I won't say, but
yeah.
no, I couldn't do that.
So how did you if you was used to that, making a certain amount, and then you came here looking for a job and it didn't happen, and you just when you started the groups you started, how, was you getting paid for that?
Oh,
Anything like
yes.
okay.
When I was working with the Better Women's
Mhm.
Coalition, it was my job.
Oh, it's your
I was
job.
a
Okay.
counselor there.
Okay.
That was my job. When I worked for Reverend Elam, who since passed away, that was a job.
Mhm.
So I had two jobs. And then I had a little third job that constantly working, but always sharpening my saw,
Mhm.
sharpening my skills, so much so that my supervisor asked me, she said, "You know what, Bessie, you're really good at this. You should go back to school." And I was like, "I'm not going back to school. I'm not going to be here for a very short period of time because I'm just going to get my son and leave."
Mhm.
But I did end up going back to school um, for human services, but I didn't get my degree.
Right.
I was like, "That's it. I had enough of school." But I took all of those skills and parlayed them into starting my own business.
Mhm. So the passion that you had for the groups, working with those groups, didn't as far as the money didn't equate to what the money you was making in
Oh,
Jersey,
no,
but
no.
the passion helped out with that
Mhm,
of doing that work.
mhm.
That's dope. That's
I
good.
did a workshop called "Do What You Love and the Money Would Follow." My daughter just didn't,
Yeah.
"Oh, Mom, you can't do that." But it paid off for me
Mhm.
because of the people that I met that were able to help me do what I needed to do as far as my son was concerned.
Mhm. You have some people that say following your passion, the money will follow. Then you have some people say not true, but it works different for
Well, it's
everybody.
not all about the money all the time. Of
Right.
course, you need money to live.
Mhm.
But when you can help somebody, when you help people, it comes back to you in so many different ways.
Mhm.
Some of the things that I was able to do for William, money could not have, I couldn't have, no matter how much money I had, I
Mhm.
couldn't have bought the services that I received for him.
Right. So how as far as the experience of going through that, the toll, did you think it was a toll on you doing that? Or you didn't even it wasn't you was gonna do it regardless, being a
I,
mother.
I never saw it as a toll. I
Mhm.
saw it as I made a commitment
Mhm.
and I was going to see it through.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, I needed to find things that brought me joy.
Mhm.
And those things brought me joy.
Right. And you've helped other after William, when you started the Straight Talk program, that you helped other people also that came out of prison, correct?
I started the transitional house, yes,
So the Straight Talk and transitional is 2 different things?
two different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you start the transitional house?
Well, I had an opportunity to write a grant for Turning Corners
Mhm.
to prove my theory that my modules would help people change their mindset. And I wrote the grant with the help of a friend of mine, John Parker, and I was awarded $25,000 for capacity building. And it was very interesting because they were only going to have 25 awardees. The 25 awardees would receive $50,000, but I was number 26 and I only received 25. So now I have to go out and do this work. So I went to the Troy House. Troy House was a federal transitional house. And I bugged the heck out of the executive director. And he gave me a chance to do my classes there on a Saturday.
Mhm.
And I did those classes and get paid for it, of course.
Right, right.
I did those classes from 2004 until they closed down in 2017. So the feds liked what I was doing. And it kept growing and increasing, and word got around that Bessie Elmore was doing this, Bessie Elmore is doing that. I wasn't looking for recognition from other organizations. I was doing the work, and I loved the work. I loved to see how people's life was transformed. Had the opportunity to do classes up at Butner Federal Prison. I just did the work, and people were paying attention to what I was doing,
Mm.
and I was getting paid to do it.
Right. All paid all around. So I know a couple of, I don't know if it's last year. Was it last year, year before? There was some talks about not getting any more funding for the transitional house.
Well, that's true. That's how, when I worked for the Troy House, they lost their funding in 2017. And I was like, oops, there goes my part-time job. But I still had other jobs. I did work over at North Carolina Central. I did work at UNC. I did work at Duke. I just did work. And when they lost their funding, I wanted to start a resource center because I realized that when people came home from prison, there were things that they would need to learn how to do. I also was an instructor for Durham Tech, and I did classes on resume writing and critical thinking. So I knew people would need those same things when they came home from prison, um, especially my son. Because in all actuality, I have to be very honest. When I first started doing this, it was all about him, doing everything for him. I could care less about other people. And he kept bugging me, saying, Ma, oh, this guy needs help with this. His mother needs help with that. And I was like, you want me to do all these things for other people? What about us?
Right.
And then I realized that it isn't all about us. It's about helping other people. So going back to the Troy House, when they lost their funding, I asked the executive director, oh, what's going to happen to this house? He asked me a real simple question. He said, why? Do you want it? And before I could even think about it, yes came out of my mouth. And he said, well, okay, do a proposal. And I did. I rushed through a proposal, which was really bad. And because they thought I wanted to do a transitional house. I was like, okay, I don't know anything about doing a transitional house. But I had a friend down in Wilmington, Frankie Roberts. And I called Frankie up and I told him what was going on. And he said, come on down. And I did. And he gave me everything I needed. He said, now tweak it and make it your own.
Mm.
And people don't do that. But Frankie did that.
Right.
And I'm forever grateful for him for doing that. So I did it, rewrote it, tweaked it, made it my own, presented it. And they said, okay. But then the hard work really came about because now I got to get people in the house.
Right.
I got this big old house now because there was 21 beds in that house. And I said, okay, now I got to get people in the house. And eventually I did. I took another class for NAMI, the National Association on Mental Illness, and Department of Public Safety came to me and they asked me, well, what is this NAMI? And I told them, because anyone who's been in prison, they've been affected in some way by some type of trauma. Anyone who has visited a prison has been affected by some type of trauma. Just being wound down, looking at the barbed wire, going through those doors, clanging, hearing all that noise. So they said, well, we're thinking about doing a pilot program, and we thought about you. They were familiar with the Troy House, and they knew no longer Troy House. Now it's STSG Transitional House. So they said, well, we're thinking about doing a pilot program. So they talked to me about mental health, what I knew about mental health, blah, 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 blah. I told them, long story made short, I got a contract with the state. They owned, I think when we started out, 10 beds in the house that belonged to them.
Mhm.
And they would send people mainly from Central Prison. So I had a relationship, and I still do, with Central Prison for men coming home from prison. And it went from different types of mental health issues to dementia. We had several people who had dementia that came to our house. And for 7 years, that's what I did at that house.
So it's still open to today? Or
No,
they just went ahead and shut it down?
no. Um, some people purchased the house and it didn't work out for us, so
Right.
we no longer there.
Mm. So it's one of those things where you said helping others. Frank helped you get started, do something. So it always come back full circle.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. So did you ever think about trying to open up another one?
Oh, I have.
Oh yeah?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did I miss something? So what's the name of that one? Is it STG?
It's still STSG.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Just
So
at a different location.
okay, how long has that been open?
Mm, almost a year.
Okay. So did you have to start over with different inmates, or you had someone that was there?
Justice involved individuals, not inmates.
Okay, okay. Justice involved
Individuals,
individual.
yes.
Okay. Now why not? Well, I guess they're no longer inmates anymore. I guess so. Yeah.
No, and
Yeah.
I
Right.
think that word is I think it's an ugly word. When
Mm,
people say convicts, that's an ugly word.
mm,
When people say, ex-offenders,
mhm.
ex-offenders, ex-offenders. So justice involved individuals.
Okay. Justice involved individuals.
Mhm.
So did you any of them transfer from the old house, or did you start it over all
No, we're
brand new?
starting all over
Okay.
because a lot of the guys that when we lost our lease at the STSG at 1101, we were in the process of moving guys into their own uh, residence, whether it would be another house or a room or going back with their families. See, the whole process was to help individuals to become independent and not dependent,
Mhm.
helping them with jobs, helping them, learn new skills, different things like that.
Mhm.
And if they can unite back with their family, whether it be their parents or their wives or sisters, what have you, that was the goal to do that. And in some cases it worked, in some cases it didn't.
Yeah, when I had Will and a couple other guys on a previous episode, and we talked about that as far as people not they coming there to get the help and you helping them move forward, not just depending on y'all to
Right,
do so. Yes.
right.
Sometimes that's what, people do. They just want to depend on somebody to do everything for them.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And we want people to become independent and not dependent.
Right, right. So is the funding with what's going on now with the government and all this funding talk for different programs, did that affect you anyway?
Oh, definitely.
Mhm.
It definitely, it affects us in many different ways, even with Medicare, Medicaid. It affects the guys not being able to get the medical. It's affecting everyone.
Mhm.
Federal federal funding and everything that's going on. But for someone coming home from prison, it has a more of an impact on them than it would have on the average person.
'Cause they got that extra strike behind them.
Right.
Now, do you have anyone there that's resilient about going out, finding jobs
Oh,
or
yes,
they
yes. Believe it or not, people really want to work.
Mhm,
They don't wanna just sit around
mhm,
and do nothing, and especially at our house, you can't sit around and do nothing.
mhm,
You can't lay in the bed all day.
right.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, but get up.
Yes.
Oh, no. No, I ain't gonna say that. You might get me.
No, no, I won't. No, I won't.
But you got some structure, like, from where they came from.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Which is still good,
You have chores to do, you have,
Mm,
things to do during the day,
mhm,
you just can't stay in that house and just watch TV all day.
mhm.
No.
Yeah. So What kind of staff do you have? Who's helping you with it?
Well, I had a team of staff.
Mm-hmm.
We've downsized, of course, from when we had 1101 because we had staff 3 shifts during the week, and then we had weekend staff. So we always had people. Depending on how many people you have in the house,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have 2 staff people. If you have more than 6 people in the house, then you need to have 2 staff people.
Mm-hmm. So how do you find the help?
You put an ad in the paper, or you call up, or you know someone that I work with an agency called NCBA, the National Association, NCBA, Black people, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Age people that were looking for jobs to want to subsidize their income. So I had quite a few people that worked for NCBA.
Mm-hmm. Now you say you have a radio show?
Yes,
Okay, what's the name of the radio show?
it's called Journey Home
Journey Home? Why Journey Home?
because it's a journey coming home.
Are you talking about the inmates or not
Justice
inmate?
involved individuals.
Yeah. Them. Yeah. So okay, it's the name for them. Okay.
It's a journey coming home.
Oh, it is a journey.
It's a
Yeah,
process.
yeah, it is a
Yeah.
process. So how's the radio station going so far?
So far, so good. We only had this is our second show.
Okay.
We did our second show. So show coming up will be our third show.
Okay. So when did y'all get started?
October the 11th.
October 11th. So what's the station?
WCOM 103.5.
Mm-hmm.
And they're out of Carborough.
Out of Carborough. So as far as surrounding areas, who all can hear it? Like,
You can hear it all around the world.
oh yeah. Okay. 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 I've never heard of the radio station until you told me.
Okay. Well, we'll have you on our show. We'll have
Yeah.
you as a guest.
Yeah. And we need to talk about you writing a grant for me too. You do a lot. Yeah, you're very smart. And I see where we'll get it from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because even with you talking about going into the law or studying and finding out things of your own, he has that same thing. And when I seen y'all do the that's what I want to talk about. The
TED Talk.
TED Talk. I was like, man, that was powerful. How did you not cry doing that?
You know, I've never cried the whole time my son was incarcerated.
Oh, yeah?
I never cried
Hmm.
because I was always afraid if I started crying,
Mhm.
I wouldn't stop. So I didn't have time to cry.
Hmm.
Nope.
They say crying is good though.
It is. And I would tell that as a counselor. I would tell people, relief, you need to cry.
Mhm.
I was too afraid to cry. When my son was sentenced to natural life in prison,
Mhm.
and in the courtroom, like I said, I didn't hear natural life. And I'm glad I didn't. I probably would have had a breakdown.
Hmm.
I only heard life. But then I realized, natural life? Are you kidding me? That means that my son is going to die in prison? No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So I didn't have time to cry. I got to figure this thing out. My daughter and I, we got to figure this out.
Mm.
We don't have time to cry.
Yeah, he told me about that. Of course, he talked about it on the podcast. How did you? I want to know from you. How did you feel when he started talking about taking his life?
Oh,
You didn't cry then either.
no.
What's going on? I hope that you are enjoying this episode, but I wanted to take the time out to ask you to please subscribe to the podcast. I've noticed that a lot of people are watching but are not subscribed. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss an episode when it's aired or about to air. And also make sure you go to impelforwardmerch.com. That's impelforwardmerch.com. Grab you something. Now back to the episode.
I was like, in my opinion, a mother is the only one that can take a life because she gave you life. So if somebody was going to take his life, it had to be me. But when he told me that, I was like, no, can't do that.
Mhm.
I'm going to figure this out for you. No, no, you got to promise me you're not going to do that. Yeah. You're causing me to go back.
Right.
I just, no.
And he told me, what did he say? He said something about you came to see him one day and you told him he was ungrateful or he felt like he was being ungrateful. It was something he had said. I can't remember call it. And I kind of and I asked him like when as far as her may have those feelings, because she's coming to see you. I think he said something about not y'all not coming to see him anymore or something.
Oh, yes, you
Yeah,
did tell me that, and I
yeah,
was like, are you crazy?
yeah,
Because he was like, "Mom, just forget about me." And I
yeah.
was like, "You are really crazy.
Right.
That is not gonna
And I
happen."
told him, I said, "Well, wouldn't she have the right to feel that way? All the stuff she was doing for you." He said,
Mm-mm,
"Yeah, yeah."
mm-mm,
Wow, he never cried. Wow.
no,
Mm.
no,
Okay, did you cry when he came home?
no,
Those were tears of joy. Could have been tears of joy.
because my daughter and I, William later on bought into what we were doing,
Hmm.
but my daughter and I was like, "No, this is not gonna this is not how our story ends.
Hmm.
We get to write how it ends."
Hmm.
And we made a decision. So there was time to be angry, yes. Um, there was time to be frustrated, yes. And I'm sure in those 20 some years, I had plenty of nervous breakdowns, but I just couldn't give in to that because I didn't have time. Time was figuring out what's our next, what we do next, how we going to work this out, how we going to figure this out. So I didn't have time for that. And the day coming on, we knew it was going to happen. I know that might sound crazy to people, but we knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. So coming home was like, okay, we did it. Now it's on to the next one,
Right.
you know. And I know that might sound a little arrogant,
Hmm.
but Kobe had a saying, you rest at the end, not in the middle. You keep going. You rest at the end. Well, we haven't gotten to the end yet because we're still going.
Right.
There's still things for us to do.
Right. Yeah.
We're not ready to retire yet.
He told me he's a big Kobe fan.
Oh, yes.
Me too. As you can see. Yeah,
Yes.
Mamba mentality.
Right.
Yeah. So what you have a book you written?
I don't have a book. William has a book.
I know he has a book. I thought you had told me what you it was it must have been it was something that you told me you were starting.
I did write a book. I just never did anything with it.
Okay. I don't know if you told me that. I know you told me you started a podcast. Or you
Mhm.
have a podcast, but you
Mhm.
haven't done anything with it yet.
Right.
Why not?
Because there were so many other little things to do.
Mhm.
And I think when we lost, and I used the organization as me.
Mhm.
So when the organization lost their lease, I knew before we lost our lease, we had lost our contract with the state. Well, to be honest, I ended the contract with the state because I didn't like the direction they were trying to move me into. Normally, um, a pilot program does not last more than 2, 3 years. Our pilot program lasted 7 years.
Mhm.
So to me, there was something fell through the cracks. But anyway, I was trying to figure out, okay, what can we do and no funding? What can we do now to generate some funds for the organization? Because I was funding the organization. And I was trying to think of, okay, what else can we do? And that particular radio station, we had done 2 shows on that station,
Mhm.
and they had asked us, "Oh, you guys should have a show," and we was like, "Nah, we don't wanna commit for a whole year."
Mhm.
Um, then I started thinking, "Okay, something's missing. We need to look at something else." Uh, Still hold to our mission, still do what we're doing, but we need something else that's gonna generate something for us. And I thought about the radio station. I thought about the podcast first, straight out of STSG, and that never really got off the ground. And I said, well, let's look at something else in the radio station.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, well, good. Yeah. Well, you've done a lot. I'm pretty sure you can do it.
I think so.
Yeah. So what's the name of your book?
Uh, I don't even remember the title.
It's been that long ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So you never promoted it or anything like that?
No.
What was it about?
It's for me.
Oh, okay, for you.
It was
Okay.
about my feelings, the things that I went through, how I
Mhm.
was feeling during these 25 plus years here in North Carolina, how much I disliked this state,
Mhm.
the people I met, the incredible people that God put in my path, because it had to be Him, because it definitely wasn't me.
Mhm. Now you say you don't like the state, but you still here and you get met some incredible people.
I have no other choice.
Uh,
I'm established here. If I
Mhm.
try to go someplace else,
Mhm.
I'm too old to start all over again. So,
Yeah. Most people that come from upstate, they love down here, down south. They
yeah.
love it.
Well, it depends on the circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you got some great circumstances now. You're doing just to hear the things you've done and what you're doing. I think it's pretty well. That's not for me to say, but I'm just on the outside looking in.
Yeah, yeah. I love what I do. Like I said, um, I love it. I would continue to do it even if I didn't get paid, because I
Mhm.
love it.
Mhm.
That's how much I love it.
Right.
I'm very passionate about the work I do, just to see the transformation in people.
Mhm. And do you partner with anybody with the STG?
No, we do have partners now. One of our biggest partners right now is NAMI, the National Association on Mental Illness,
Mhm.
which I'm very, very proud of. We're partnering with Samaritan Health Clinic. I'm very proud of. Do you know anything about
Mm-mm.
Samaritan? Samaritan Health Clinic, we partner with them for men and women coming home from prison who don't have insurance. They can go to Samaritan Health Clinic and get the services that they need. Um, what other organizations? Oh gosh, now you ask me, I can't remember anybody. So there's quite a few that we partner with. Now, grant-wise, we haven't partnered with anyone grant-wise. Fit, Fit, Fit formerly in transition. They work with men also
Mhm.
coming home from prison
Mhm.
on services they provide.
Right. So how do you manage doing all this?
How do I manage? What do you mean?
Manage just your everyday life, like with all the responsibility you have with what you're doing. You got the radio station. You got the what do you call it?
Support group?
The who? Yeah, support group. Yeah.
I don't facilitate the support group anymore. My daughter does. Cheryl
Oh,
McDonald does it.
okay.
So I stepped away from that.
Hmm. But you still got some hands in it.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Mhm.
So,
Well, you naming all the things you've done. That's a jack
yeah,
of.
but I think my biggest thing outside of the transitional house was the TED Talk, because I always wanted to be on the red circle.
Mhm.
When I had the opportunity to see Brian Stevenson, are you familiar with Brian Stevenson?
Not that I know of.
The movie Mercy?
I don't watch a lot of movies.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mhm.
Brian Stevenson, he has an organization. It's in Montgomery, Alabama. You know,
Mercy, is that the one with not Jamie?
yes, Jamie
Yeah.
Foxx.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Brian Stevenson. I had the opportunity to meet him,
Yeah.
and I heard him on TED Talk,
Mhm.
and he was on the red circle, and I was like, you know what? I want to be on that red circle because
Mhm.
I have something to say.
Right.
And one of my team members, she was instrumental in getting me an interview, and they like William and I went at separate times, even though we went the same day. He went first, and I went next, and they wanted us to do it together,
Mhm.
and that was phenomenal.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Look, if y'all get a chance to check it out, is it just what is it? I can't remember. Did it have a title to it?
It's From Prison to Peace.
From Prison to Peace on YouTube. Go to it. Straight Talk. Will Elmore and Miss Bessie Elmore. Go check it out. It's phenomenal.
It
Great.
was. It was kind of odd because we had to go over the script. They weren't, doing the script. And then we had to know when each other came in, and we was like, you know what? We know our story.
Right.
So we don't have to really do a script.
Mhm.
So it's just knowing when he would talk, and then I would have to come in, and I would talk, and he would have
Yeah.
to come in.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part.
Yeah, y'all did it pretty good too. Cause I was like how y'all was flowing. I'm like, it's flowing pretty good.
Yeah, it was. We
Yeah.
did enough rehearsals. Like, that's it. Let's stop. We know our story. We don't have to keep doing it. We just
Yeah.
have to know how to look at each other or
Mhm.
what words, and that's how it went. But that was very rewarding.
Yeah. And he told me that they wouldn't let y'all talk about the prison time or
No,
something.
because there were certain things. There's certain requirements that TED Talk has, and there was certain things they didn't want us to say because it could have jeopardized TED Talk with their insurance and all this other stuff.
Oh,
So it was okay.
right. Now, everything you do, with like even with the program you're now, is that's considered nonprofit, right?
Right.
Yeah. What kind of advice would you give somebody who's starting a nonprofit or wants to start a
Ooh,
nonprofit?
in today's climate,
Uh-huh.
my personal, I would say, wait.
Wait.
Yeah, I would say look more for profit. Even though a nonprofit is run like a for profit,
Mhm.
the only thing different is you don't pay taxes
Mhm.
on a nonprofit. But you're always looking for grants. And everybody's going after the same money.
Mhm.
And, or you have to find funders. And getting contracts from the state, from the federal government, like I said, in today's climate, the way they're cutting everything, I would say wait.
Hmm. I thought about doing a nonprofit a long time ago, but I'm gonna listen to you and say wait.
Well, do your homework.
I know,
Do your homework.
So what keeps you grounded, or who keeps you grounded?
My faith in God. Yeah. Excuse me.
Mhm.
My son would say I'm very naive. I believe there's potentially good in everybody. You
Mhm.
just gotta find it.
Right.
Um, but what keeps me grounded is my faith.
And that you have a lot of faith.
Yes, I do. Sometimes blind, but
Why you say that?
um, who would tackle a state?
Mhm.
Who would tackle a state that I looked at what my daughter and I did, and I look at it sometimes in amazement.
Mhm.
We challenged this state of North Carolina, and we won.
So what was it that, like the day or when you found that out that Will was coming home? What was it like?
It was like, okay,
Was it like I knew it?
yes,
Yeah, that much confidence.
we were expecting it
Mhm.
every day, even though he was turned down so many times for honor grade.
Mhm.
And it was like, okay, the air has let out our balloon. Now let's take a break, step back, get over it, get up, keep going.
Mhm.
And that's what we did. I think he was turned down like 7 times.
Yeah. I think you should have went to law school.
No,
You been a
mm-mm,
great lawyer.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Being a lawyer, and I spoke to a lot of lawyers when I came here about my son's case. Being a lawyer, and some of the lawyers probably not going to like what I say, but it's your interns and your clerks that do the work because they have to look up
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Right.
They do the work.
They do the work. Yeah.
And when, like I said, when I volunteered for the American Civil Liberties Union, I understood that. I understood it to the point where I went back to my son's attorney that my daughter had paid all his money. He did nothing. and I apologized to him. And he was surprised
You apologize to him, why?
because he didn't do a good job. And I apologized to him
Mhm,
because I was under the assumption that the lawyer knew everything.
mhm,
But it's the clerks. You got to research. They have to do all of that research
mhm,
and then give it to him. Then he has to put it together, do a brief, and then present it to the judge.
mhm,
And it could go either way.
hmm.
So, and I watched a lot of Law and Order. I still do.
Oh, yeah. Now, when you say clerks, are you meaning like the paralegals or and then
Hmm.
so yeah, um,
And the interns that work in your
interns?
office, yeah.
Yeah. I think my mother told me that because she's she's I think y'all kinda around the same when it comes to studying law, finding out things, and getting things done with the paper and the pen and reading, and she said, they really don't do any of the work, you know?
That's true.
Mm. Well, if you got a case, I hope you hear
But
that.
there are good attorneys.
Uh-huh.
They're very good attorneys, but they also have some good uh, clerks and interns that work for them, and law students.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm. So what's next for you? What do you think is next for you?
Oh, I don't know. Doing the radio show is exciting,
Mhm,
and getting the podcast next is exciting.
mhm.
Who knows? I don't know.
Well, you can kinda maybe coincide the radio show and the podcast together, maybe.
Yeah. Now that I met you,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
pick your brain.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll never retire
Mhm.
because I love what I do.
Right.
So I'll never retire. But speaking,
Mhm,
speaking out on, of course, reentry. Um, there's a lot of injustice in this country. It always has been as far as Black and brown people are concerned.
mhm.
Um, but giving voice to people who don't have a voice.
How are you I don't know, I keep saying I keep saying I won't bring this up, but it's I bring it up now often about voting. How are you? Do you think? Because I was thinking this on the way here, matter of fact. Do we really know what's going on behind these scenes? We act like we do. We talk, we say, vote this, vote that, do this, do that. But it's it's a lot of things going on behind the scene we don't even know about.
Well, I'll say this, and I won't get into politics or
Right.
all of that stuff, voting. But I will say this, people have the power,
Mhm,
but power is only potential power until you use it.
mhm,
And if we don't use it, then it doesn't mean anything. When you say, okay, we're going to get out and vote, it doesn't start at the top, it starts at the bottom. It
mhm.
starts with your local stuff, your school board, your city council, your mayor, your congressman. That's where it starts, and then it moves up.
I-
People normally go to the top, the
yeah,
president.
yeah,
He only has the power that we give him the
yeah.
power.
I keep hearing that, the local, the local, the local. But us as blacks, we can't even agree on who we want in the local.
But
We
it's been designed that way.
yeah,
And until we do something about it, it will continuously be that way.
right.
And I don't have the answer to that, but that's what I feel about it.
All right, is there anything that I missed or anything else you want to say,
No, I
talk
think you
about?
covered it. I think you covered it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on your show to talk about not just about my son, because like I said, it's about many other sons, people that are still in prison. I get letters from guys all the time telling me that everybody in prison want to get out of prison.
Oh yeah, of
That's a
course.
fact.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Um, they've been wronged, okay, but you did something.
Mhm.
Um, maybe what you did not have to be sentenced to
Yeah,
whatever.
didn't want the time. Right.
I had a lady that called me up, nice lady, and her daughter was sentenced to life in prison. And I asked her, I said, well, tell me, first of all, why are you calling me? I want to know. And she was like, yeah, because I heard what you did for your son. And when people say that to me, I get a little annoyed because I don't have the magic wand to get somebody out of prison. So I said, well, I appreciate that, but tell me a little bit about your story, your daughter. And she started telling me, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Then I did my own research. And her daughter was involved in running a drug house. Her daughter was involved in all of this stuff. Now, not meaning that her daughter deserved to be in prison for the rest of her life, but she was snitched on. They gave her up to save themselves, you know. And I felt bad for the lady. And I asked her, I said, well, when was the last time you saw your daughter? Oh, she hadn't seen her daughter in 5 years.
Right.
Why? Because, well, she's in, the feds move people around. I know that. I understand that. But you haven't seen her in 5 years. 5 years?
And she wants you to help get her out.
Yeah. Of course, there was nothing I can do for her daughter. I asked her, I said, well, did you know what your daughter was doing? She was like, well, she told me. I said, but did you know what your daughter was doing? She said she didn't know. I said, you need to read about what your daughter was doing because your daughter was guilty. And William asked me a very important question. And he said, Mom, if I were guilty, would you have fought as hard as you did for me? And I said, no. I would have came to visit you, yes. But because you weren't guilty, that's why I fought so hard. But I also did an investigation, not that I didn't believe him, but I wanted something to present in court to get the case overturned. So I had a private investigator. I hired a private investigator to do a reenactment. I hired a forensic pathologist, all of that, but it was too late. It wasn't enough to get the case overturned. So I really went deep.
You went out your way. Ooh, I can't say out your way because it's your son, but you did a lot.
Mhm.
So, do you speak anywhere? Do you go like just different places speaking? People call you to hire you to speak.
Some do.
Do you do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I do.
How often?
Not as often as I would like. I was too involved in the house. I'm not involved
Right.
as much as I was.
Yeah, we need to get you some just sit you up, just let you talk. Put something out there. It might once you start the podcast and really get into it,
I think,
it'll
like
help
I
you out.
said, people, I don't know, they have a voice, but they don't know how to use their voice.
Right.
And people say, oh, you Northerners are so arrogant. No, I don't think so. I think that even if I was in Jersey and it happened to William, I would have been the same way. I think that people don't realize the power that they possess to make change in anything. And I just assumed that people in the South was more aggressive than the people in the North because of the civil rights movement happened in the South. But I found that wasn't true. They got it and sat down.
Well, leave us with, I guess, some words of encouragement, inspiration, anything you can think of, just to lead the audience.
Don't rest in the middle, rest at the end. In the words of Kobe Bryant. If you believe in something strong enough, go after it. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Impel forward. Wow. Well, it's been a good one. There you have it for another episode of the Impel Forward podcast. And remember, seize the opportunity to grasp your
Amen.
dreams.